I remember that episode when because Meg walked up to him and was like he asked for something and Meg goes, "No offense to you, Mr. Herbert, but I'm a 17-year-old girl and I don't need you here." And then he responded with, "Well, no offense to you, Meg, but you're a 17-year-old girl and I don't need you here." Because all he wanted was Chris.
Or I'm gonna slap you right in your...
I'm a 17-year-old girl and I don't need you here.
No offense to you, Meg. You're a 17-year-old girl and I don't need you here.
Is there anyone?
That's the scene that I was talking about. And don't you mouth off to me or I'm gonna slap you right in your... What he said. What's up, my fellow guild members? Kale here. Welcome to another reaction video. Also, don't forget to check out gamersubs.gg and use code Kale at checkout for 10% off. I hope you enjoy the video. What's up, everyone? So today we're going to be watching a video called How Long Would Herbert's Prison Sentence Be? I love Family Guy, so something like this definitely is part of my interest. let me just put that out there. I will be linking this video in the description of this in the description below. So if you want to check out the original, it'll be here. All right, let's get right into it.
I think Quagmire is the most dangerous predator in all of Quahog. Allow me to introduce you to Herbert the Pervert.
Oh, for sure.
Hey there, little fella. We sure got a lovely day for...
For sure, Herbert. For sure, Herbert. If anyone thinks Quagmire is more dangerous than Herbert is in Family Guy, yeah, we got problems. Don't get me wrong. Quagmire is a menace to society and dangerous, especially towards women, for sure. But Herbert is dangerous to all children. All children.
Don't we?
Stay away from my brother's butt.
No kid will ever be safe with this wrinkly, three-toothed corpse leering around every playground. Sit down and listen.
You like popsicles? Well, you need to come on down to the cellar. I got a whole...
My voice gone for a second.
I got a whole freezer full of popsicles. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm about to take you guys through every single revolting, abominable crime Mr. Herbert here has committed, and it's not going to be pretty. Probably the biggest piece of evidence that Peter and Lois are the worst parents in history is the episode of Play It Again, Brian, where they literally hired Herbert, of all people, to babysit their kids. Brian's essay wins first prize, and
I remember that episode when because Meg walked up to him and was like he asked for something and Meg goes, "No offense to you, Mr. Herbert, but I'm a 17-year-old girl and I don't need you here." And then he responded with,
"Well, no offense to you, Meg, but you're a 17-year-old girl and I don't need you here."
Because all he wanted was Chris.
he invites Lois and Peter to attend the award ceremony with him. This means the couple will have to find a babysitter to watch their kids. Now, there are plenty of normal people in Quahog who Lois and Peter could have chosen, but no, the morons decided to go with the most dangerous perv in town.
Exactly.
That nice old man who lives up the street.
Yeah, maybe Herbert can watch the kids. He seems like a responsible guy.
We could pay you for it.
And it's real easy, I promise. You've spent time watching children, right?
Yes, I have.
The three of them jet off for a luxurious
Yes, I
vacation
have.
in New England. Meanwhile, Herb the perv is laying down a few ground rules back at the Griffin household. No cussing, clean your plates, and only half an hour of radio before bed. And what is the punishment if they, specifically Chris, break the rules?
Or I'm gonna slap you right in your...
I'm a 17-year-old girl and I don't need you here.
No offense to you, Meg. You're a 17-year-old girl and I don't need you here.
Is there anyone?
That's the scene that I was talking about.
And don't you mouth off to me or I'm gonna slap you right in your...
What he said.
One in Quahog who doesn't disrespect Meg. While Brian tries to win Lois's heart with a romantic day out riding bikes, playing carnival games, and watching the sunset, Herbert has taken a more terrifying approach to seducing Chris.
Y'all know what day it is? It's bath day.
Oh, I don't want to take a bath.
Not for you, silly. It's bath day for me. Know anybody with a pair of strong young hands to help me in and out of the tub? Oh, rats.
I mean, in my opinion, I think Meg has the strongest hands in out of all the children, for sure. But we know what Herbert wanted.
Why does Meg not even look the teensiest bit disgusted at having to wash this ugly old man? I guess it probably takes a lot to gross her out at this point. Anyway, after his bath, Herbert sends the kids off to bed and reads Chris a bedtime story about how the things that seem the most dangerous turned out to be the most fun. He begins whistling a lullaby to make the teen fall asleep, and while Chris Griffin might have the IQ of a goldfish, even he knows
His IQ is way worse than a goldfish. Way worse than a goldfish.
what this creep's intentions are.
Are you a
We see the pervert have a sacred storybook still on his lap in the end credits, so Chris survived the night untouched. It doesn't make the episode any less creepy, though. While sexual assault didn't happen in that episode, threatening to slap Chris in his and asking for his strong young hands to bathe his naked body are both highly inappropriate comments that could be considered harassment. A conviction would mean 6 months in the clink plus a $2,500 fine, and honestly, Peter and Lois also deserve jail time for leaving their own children in this creep's hands.
They all deserve jail time. All three of them. All three of them.
Knowingly. Herbert has definitely got a thing for morbidly obese teens that smell bad, because why else would he fantasize about becoming Chris Griffin's wife? Jin's disturbing crush dates back to Herbert's first appearance in the episode To Love and Die in Dixie, where the creep saw Chris doing his paper round, somehow became aroused by the 13-year-old's muscly throwing arm, and wasted no time trying to lure him down to his dungeon. I mean, popsicle cellar.
You like popsicles?
You like popsicles? Well, you need to come on down to the cellar. I got a whole freezer full of popsicles. Mm-hmm.
Well, sure.
Come on down to the cellar. I got a whole freezer full of popsicles.
No thanks. I gotta get going.
Don't make me beg now.
You're funny.
Get your fat ass back here.
After a robber escapes jail and wants to get revenge on Chris for turning him into the cops, the Griffins get placed under witness protection and relocated to the Deep South. Mr. Herbert presumably fell into a deep, dark depression with no fat paperboy to check out, because when the Griffins finally return home, 113 messages are left on their...
I know this thing word for word. All right, here we go. Guess who? Sorry to leave you so many messages. Just lonely here, thinking about the muscly arm paper boy. Wishing he'd come by and bring me some good news. Where are you? Ah, you're starting to piss me off, you little piglet. Son of a bitch. Call me. I think that's pretty much word for word.
answering machine.
Haven't seen a news
Oh, I forgot the
in a
beginning.
couple days. Guess who?
There we go.
Sorry to leave you so many messages. Thinking about the muscly arm paper boy. Wishing he'd come by and bring me some good news. Oh, you're starting to piss me off, you little piglet son.
Why do I feel like
He
they
left
all
out a
stood there
couple
and listened
beeps.
to every single message, and Herbert definitely needs glasses if he thinks Chris is muscular. Kid is 99% lard. The Griffins were barely gone a few days, so leaving 113 unwanted messages in such a short amount of time, especially suggestive and threatening ones, can get Herbert charged with stalking. If found guilty, he'd be looking at 1 year in the Quahog City jail with a $1,000 fine to boot. Remember the episode Crisscross? The one when Chris ran away from home and actively lived with Herbert?
This is when he...
There's no
This episode was when he actually had the fantasizing of marrying Chris and being his wife. I'm pretty sure this is the one. And yeah, it came out with a pretty good song. He had a little musical number in there.
way he still don't have nightmares about that one. When the kids at school make fun of his weird Latvian sneakers, Chris is desperate to buy cooler shoes and actually robs his mom to try and get them.
Busted.
Meg blackmails Chris into cleaning her room, doing her homework, and failing to put contact lenses in her eyes. Chris is then made to stand outside Planned Parenthood and photograph every girl from school who goes inside, but he draws the line at calling the girls and pretending to be their dead babies. What the frick, Meg? Really?
I'm
Dude,
not doing any more of your...
Meg is also a menace to society. She is she's an anarchist. I could not think of the word. She's an anarchist and legit just wants to see the world burn. That's literally, I think she even had said that in one of the episodes. She was like, I just love chaos. I just want to see the world burn. I'm pretty sure that's what she said.
Crap, Meg.
You have no choice. I'll just go tell Mom and Dad about the money, and they'll ground your ass for a year.
Tell him I'm gonna run away and no one will ever see me again.
Meg reminds Chris that he has no friends and no one to turn to, but that's totally not true.
Do you mind if I live with you?
Live with me? I feel like I'm gonna pinch myself to see if I'm dreaming. It's real.
It's actually so sad that Chris's only friend is a 100-year-old freak who looks like a goblin. Life really ain't treating this kid kindly. Herbert is just over the moon to have the best-looking teen in town as his new roommate, and he wastes no time in making him feel right at home.
Life is like a new baseball field. You think you're never gonna get a ball in there, and you oil it up, and pretty soon you're pitching out.
He's talking about the Diddy oil. Bleep that out, please.
And catching.
I guess that makes sense.
You
Sorry.
You really know how to ruin a Cialis.
Chris's horrendous fart spared him from being assaulted, but there's one crime Herbert did commit in that episode: harboring a runaway. That's the offense of providing shelter to a runaway minor without notifying the parents. If convicted of the misdemeanor, Herbert would be facing another year in jail and a $4,000 fine. He wouldn't care though. He's clearly too upset about being dumped by Chris.
We broke up!
If you love the movie Poltergeist, then you gotta love the Family Guy episode Petergeist. When everybody starts going to Joe's for movie night, Peter vows to build his own multiplex movie theater. He begins digging in the backyard, but quickly discovers that his house is built on an ancient Native American burial ground. The fat man, of course, treats the dead guy's remains with the utmost of respect.
Are you peeing
Oh,
in that
100%.
skull?
No, Lois, I'm getting up and walking all the way to the bathroom and doing it there.
Peter's blatant middle finger to the dead causes the poltergeist to emerge from TV and haunt the Griffins. Stewie gets stuck through a portal to the other side, and Chris, well, he's about to be eaten by a giant possessed tree. Luckily, Herbert is willing to put his own life on the line to save his favorite paperboy.
Hey, Skinny Britches, why don't you pick on someone your own
It's the
size?
whistle every time. Every time.
You
Hey, Skinny Britches.
shall not pass.
Herbert never appears again in the TV version of that episode, but fun fact, if you watch the uncensored DVD version, you'll get the perverted old freak emerge from the abyss ready to do some freaky peaky stuff with that ghost tree.
Are you a giving tree or a receiving tree?
Out of all the twisted, politically incorrect jokes in Family
I have never seen that scene because I've never seen the DVD version of it. I've only seen. Wow. Are you a giving tree or a receiving tree?
Guy, why did they censor the one about screwing trees? Makes no sense. Herbert using his magical walker to create a massive crater in the Griffin's backyard may have saved Chris's life, but it's still criminal damage, and the crime would earn the tree lover 3 years in the Go Hog Slammer plus a 50 grand fine. Some of Mr. Herbert's favorite pastimes include attempting to satisfy his disgusting fetishes.
If I gave you a sandwich, do you think you could get Chris to fart on it?
Okay, that's gross.
Paperboy.
Okay, so while we're here, this is the checkpoint. I want everyone that made it this far to put in the comments how long total do you think Herbert would have to spend in jail, and the amount of the fine total that he would have to pay for everything. So put your guesses in the comments below.
Boys,
Gosh, it's a brand new Paperboy.
Piss off, you perverted old freak.
Oh, we got a fighter.
having a little sing-song.
I know what
Boys want. I know what boys like. Boys like.
And
Boys
gate-crashing
like
school
me.
dances.
Look at that kid.
You don't want to hurt yourself dancing.
That is one ugly 8th grader.
Make sure you stretch out those creamy hamstrings.
That is not an 8th
I really
grader.
hope he just bought those clothes from the store and they don't actually belong to some traumatized kid being held captive in his cellar. There's no way an actual school invited the local perv to their dance, so Herbert sneaking inside disguised as a fellow 8th grader is blatant trespassing. The crime would earn the freak 3 years in the Stony Lonesome, plus a pretty hefty $100,000
Jesus.
fine. Had he stayed home that night, he may have caught a glimpse of what Stewie did to Chris on the drive home.
Do you want us to pull over?
I don't care what you do.
Oh, we'll pull over. Pull over. If your teachers ask about your bruises, what do you tell them?
I got hit by a baseball.
Remember when Chris grew a talking zit on his face named Doug in the episode of Brian the Bachelor? That was super weird, but obviously nothing could be weirder than Herbert spying on the teen undressing in the bathroom.
And he falls backwards. Yup.
I mean, at least the fall would have crushed his. So yeah, peeping on Chris like that would be considered voyeurism, which is the crime of deliberately watching other people engage in intimate stuff like undressing. The offense would add another 3 years and $5,000 in fines to Herbert's sentence. How did he even know it was Chris in the bathroom anyway? Well, that's 50% of Herb the Perv's nauseating crimes against male minors down, and his prison sentence is currently at 11
Damn. 11 years and 6 months so far. Okay, so actually, so we're at halfway, and he's at 11 years and 6 months, so 11 and a half years. Holy shit. He's gonna, I think he's gonna rack up at least 30 years, at least. And we're only halfway.
That might be more years than he has left on Earth. The criminal's also got a pretty hefty $162,500 fine to pay up. If your skin isn't already crawling with disgust at this point, A, what is wrong with you? And B, get a bag to projectile vomit into, because some of these next crimes I'm about to show you are so disgusting, I seriously debated even putting them in this video. From working as a harassed paperboy to serving as Quagmire's prostitute appointment secretary, Chris has had a whole bunch of disturbing jobs to put on his resume. However, the worst by far happened in the episode The Courtship of Stewie's Father, where he literally had to work for a with a crush on him. After Chris accidentally breaks Herbert's window with a baseball, Peter, Lois, and the old perv agree that he should be forced to do
He sees that baseball and he goes, "Looks like the good Lord just sent me a conversation starter."
some chores to pay off the debt.
Well, I guess I'll get started.
If you get sweaty and want to take your shirt off, that'd be just fine.
As if exploiting Chris for free labor while making suggestive comments at him wasn't bad enough, Herbert then makes a 13-year-old go on a fracking date with him.
Oh, I wanted to thank you properly for all your hard work.
There is no way this creep didn't try and slip a roofie in that kid's drink. The teen's date fell asleep before any assault took place, but Mr. Herbert can still be charged with unpaid labor. The penalty would mean 1 year in prison and a $20,000 fine, but I still can't believe
that was the episode when Herbert had the dream and he goes, now I had the time of my life and I never felt this way before. Yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you. I think that's the song. I think that was the song he did. He did sing a song in that one, but I could be wrong. Pretty sure that was the song.
Peter was okay with Chris working for free. Actually, you know what? I can. Oh, and we also need to add 4 more years and $80K in fines to Herbert's sentence for unpaid labor, because in the uncensored version of Brian's play, you can see 4 boys being forced to pull the pervert's carriage to the theater.
Easy there, Spencer. Now behave yourself and there'll be a withered carrot for you later.
Okay, I can see why that one was censored. Life ain't easy.
Yeah, I can see that being censored. What the fuck was that?
Because an evil monkey and a certain old
I've never seen that scene.
Life's mission to terrorize him. In the episode Hannah Banana, Chris is determined to prove once and for all that the evil monkey in his closet is real. That night, he sets up a camera to capture the damning evidence, but when he checks,
this was a good episode. I enjoyed the evil monkey.
3 different crimes.
Bro, his family really just that's gross.
Is it wrong for me to acknowledge that Herbert actually has good painting skills? Like, I could see him being a professional artist if he was, you know, painting flower vases instead of children. He easily beat short trespassing on the Griffin's property and invasion of privacy, because what could be more invasive than a perv watching you sleep and painting you like the birth of Venus? We can also throw in a second charge of invasion of privacy, because in the episode Valentine's Day in Quahog, Herbert spied on Chris from the bushes, because where else would a creepy predator be hiding?
For the only one.
Freaky old Herbert would be sentenced to 3 years in jail for 1 count of trespassing and another 3 years for 2 counts of invasion of privacy. He'd also be getting slapped with a total fine of $110,000.
Jesus Christ.
He ended up hanging that painting anyways. Never mind.
I said 30 what years? I don't think I gave an exact number. We're going to say 35 years is what he's totaled at.
Maybe that might be going a bit too far. When Lois becomes concerned that Chris has no hobbies, the teen tries to find one and ends up befriending an old German puppeteer named Franz.
And then $456,000
fine. Who's
fine.
going to die soon, and Herbert, who had been spying on the two from the window, becomes horrified that another man has stolen Chris away from him. But his reaction isn't just because of a broken heart. Turns out Franz Gutentag is a literal
Franz Gutentag is really the most sadistic SS guard in all of Hitler's concentration camps.
Herbert tells the story of how he was captured by the Luftwaffe in World War II and shipped off to a concentration camp after found pictures of little boys in his wallet and assumed he was gay. He was spared death, but was forced to undergo the most horrific torture nobody would wish on their worst enemy.
He made me sort the camp recyclables. Some of those bottles still had a little bit of soda in them. Dear God, how my hands
This was get kind of sticky.
No one should have to suffer the way I suffered.
The couple don't buy the ridiculous stories. The next day, Herbert explains everything to Chris and begs the 13-year-old to choose him over Franz. The teen, of course, chooses to stay friends with the guy who doesn't want to see him naked, but immediately regrets it once he accidentally enters Franz's secret room and discovers a bunch of memorabilia. Franz pulls out a gun and holds Chris and Peter captive in the basement. Peter had to come to the house to invite Franz over for dinner. I guess that won't be going ahead. Gutentag plans on killing the Griffins to prevent his real identity from being exposed, but Peter disarms the and now all Chris has to do is pull the trigger and end this nightmare.
What are you waiting for? How do I know which one to shoot? What? How do I know which one is the real dad?
Oh, what the
We
fuck?
don't look the same.
I forgot about
When's
this.
my birthday? Crap. Ah! You idiot. Well, learn my birthday.
To think all this time I thought Peter was the dumbest guy in Quahog. Chris shooting Peter instead of Franz was definitely the most idiotic move of the episode, and the two doofuses trying to figure out a way to escape the basement is just even more comedy gold.
Where did his bullet wound go now that I think about it?
Meg, hanging out with all your friends.
Hey, Will, the ocean's that way.
That's a good one, too.
I'll never get over Meg being fat shamed by family members triple her size. Like, Peter and Chris are so fat they can't even fit one arm through the reasonably sized window. Chris eventually attracts Herbert's attention, and after the creep has got this cleared up,
I wanted to see you locked in a basement. Now that it's happened, all I want to do is get you out. Don't you worry.
he goes to confront Franz. Now, if you thought Peter's fights with Ernie the Giant Chicken were bad, let me tell you, this fight between Pervert and is the most intense, brutal, blood-filled scene in animation history.
Oh yeah, 100%. The slowest of slow motion fights ever. And then also the finale when he, yeah, I think he's gonna show it. I hope he shows it. The finale of Franz. The finale of Franz. We'll just call it that.
Wake up, we're fighting.
Where am I?
We're fighting, wake up.
Senior Citizen WWE comes to a halt when both opponents have to stop and take their daily meds. After our nurse arrives to help Franz back up off the couch, the battle continues. Now, the combined strength of these two old folks shouldn't even be enough to scrunch a single piece of paper into a ball, but somehow Franz literally ends up dying.
Yep, this is it.
Franz, grab my hand.
Low key, he deserved it. But the way he died was too funny. Did you not just see how he just like collapsed and just everything, all his bones just kind of separated? Like he broke every bone in his body just from that short little 3-inch fall.
While Herbert didn't physically push Franz over the edge to his death, he wouldn't have died if Herbert hadn't started a fight with him in the first place. This means charges of manslaughter can be brought forward, and if convicted, Herbert would be sentenced to 15 years in prison and fined $500,000. We also need to add another year and $1,000 in fines to Herbert's sentence for obstructing justice because an uncensored version of the episode shows him trying to cover up the death.
Okay, so I was way off on my prediction. I said, 35 years? We're well past that now, just from this one alone. Because the other ones put up, actually we might be close, but I have a feeling that the rest are going to be just as hefty. And then I also said 450. We're past that too. So I'm already out. What'd y'all put?
Herb was basically doing a public service by killing and burning him, but he still did something truly horrible in that episode.
Mr. Herbert called me Thunder Thighs.
Oh, you did it. Thank you.
It's not just Herbert's cellar that contains damning evidence of the most heinous crimes imaginable. His living room contains a perfectly alphabetized collection of CP.
The part
It really did.
nephew somersault compilation.
Lost
I
Boys.
assume you heard of the alphabet. Explain to me how Sammy Popsicle comes before napping various.
Herbert even begged Chris to burn his house down in the episode, and then there were fewer.
They might find some things that don't make sense to you.
Okay.
And there's going to be a lot of talk, nasty talk. It's all going to be out of context.
Don't know what that means.
It means if I die, you got to burn my house down.
So possession of CP is a very serious crime, and the punishment can be as high as life in prison and a fine of $250,000.
Okay.
A life sentence could get Herbert, the disgusting pervert, locked away for a minimum of 48 years before parole. Plus, he's definitely earned
Holy
a lifelong
shit.
spot on a certain register. But to be honest, he's probably already been on it for decades. Okay, so Herbert's supposed to be this weak, frail old man, right?
Yeah, I was way off.
Please tell me how this dude has literally managed to kidnap a 300-pound kid on 3 separate occasions.
Somebody save Chris!
Oh, that one seemed less earned.
Okay, so they only showed Stewie's reaction on that part, but on the first one, after he saved Chris from the fire, Stewie goes, looks like he earned that one.
Why do I feel like nobody in the family bothered calling the cops every time Chris was actually stolen? Now, I wish this was the end of the segment, but Mr. Herbert has unfortunately kidnapped a bunch of other kids, too. There was that time the church caught fire, and Herbert ushered 3 altar boys in the back of his van and drove away.
Let's get out of here, boys.
We can't forget that time he lured 3 boys into his safety basement.
Run! It's that pervert! Into my safety basement! Oh, I'm hurt, kids! Don't eat those popsicles till I get down there!
Child abduction carries a maximum penalty of 25 years in jail and a $100,000 fine. So 9 charges will get Herbert slapped with a $900,000 fine and thrown at the slammer for 225 years.
I was way off.
Quagmire has an insatiable urge for but at least the women he pervs on are adults. Well, most of them anyway. As for Herbert, he is desperate to satisfy his depraved urge to touch young boys, so desperate that he's literally created traps to capture children.
Yes, I'll take this teddy bear, this ruler, and this cardboard box.
Started his own YMCA, stocked up on roofies to drug people.
What kind of birdhouse can you build with popsicles, roofies, and a mallet?
Or a rare African bird called None Your Business.
And has come up with the most terrifying party games ever conceived.
Whoever can swallow the most Tylenol PM wins.
We never see Herbert assaulting children on screen. The show ain't that dark. However, the episode No Chris Left Behind heavily implies that the sick and twisted old man has gotten away with thousands of assaults. Chris gets expelled from James Woods High for being the dumbest student in school. Lois then sends them to Morningwood Academy, an elite private boarding school Carter Petersmith attended, but all the rich kids bully Chris for being poor.
They beat him with money.
School is not for your kind.
Why?
To make his grandson feel better, Carter invites him to join the Skull and Bone Society, a secret society that gets the best medical care in the world and a percentage of the 9/11 Victims Fund.
The Skull and Bones Society, where the most powerful men in the world are groomed for their futures. Every CEO, every douchebag named Ryan Seacrest.
However, to become a member, Chris must first undergo the super sketchy initiation ceremony with the Elder and Master.
7 minutes in the closet with our most senior member.
Until the door closes.
Dean turns down the offer, thank frick, and goes back to James Woods High. Carter then apologizes to Master Herbert, who's seriously pissed that he blew his chances of holding hands with the cutest paperboy in town.
Get your ass in that closet, Pewter Schmidt.
Yes, sir.
I'm so tired of you.
Carter said,
Dude, Herbert is... I'm surprised Family Guy was able to get away with a lot of shit they got away with Herbert. But they did it all in comedic context. So I guess it was fun. I guess it was fine. But holy shit, Herbert is such a terrible person. He deserves 18 lives in prison. 18 life sentences in prison.
Every president, every CEO, and Ryan Seacrest are a part of the Skull and Bone Society. Plus, they're all the members who are still kids. According to data I looked up securely on Google, there are approximately 195,530 CEOs in the US, and 31% of them are women. That means the Skull and Bone Society is made up of 134,916 CEOs, 5 living presidents, 1 Carter, 1 Seacrest, probably around 500 current students from Morningwood Academy, and let's not forget the elder and master of the club, Mr. Herbert. Since the members probably all underwent the 7 minutes in the closet with the elder, Herbert could be serving 6,500,304 years in jail for the 135,423 counts of these horrific crimes have also earned the creep a colossal $135,423 million in fines. Now,
I don't think any of us got this right. I think every single one of us got our guesses wrong. If you guess this right at all, you cheated.
now that Disney has bought Fox, doesn't that technically mean this serial child is a Disney character? That's even more disturbing than Walt's frozen brain. That's all of Herbert's grotesque crimes, and the world's worst pervert is looking at a grand total of 6,500,615 years in the Quahog City Jail, plus $135,425,023,500 in fines. Is it even possible for another villain to have committed worse crimes than we saw in this video? Well, click the screen to find out.
Holy shit. That was an insane number. Yeah, no. Herbert deserves all that and more. Herbert deserves all that and more. All right, bye. Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the video. To see more videos like this, drop a like, comment what you'd like to see me react to, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.